So we're back and still discussing working with models. Today we're going to talk about directing models. And what I normally do when when we are all together at the studio or the location that we're going to be shooting at, I show the girl a mood board and visual references on the inspiration for the shoot. And I'll try to give her as much creative information as I can, like we're shooting in a 16th century chapel. It's dark, there's a little sexual undertone. I'll show her the clothes and I'll show her expressions from editorial, on model spaces from editorials. Like, I want you to look, distraught, maybe a little afraid, and I'll show them pictures of that look on other editorials on faces so that they get an idea of what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. That helps just establish the mood, and that gives them some visual references that they can build on. And then while I'm shooting, if they're not giving me enough of that look that I'm looking for, I will stop, look at them, show them the pose. I might even come out, stand where they're standing, and say, I want you, push your arm out more. I'll direct them from behind the camera. I'll just show them that I want them to do this, or I want them to give me this pained expression. And I'll just look like an idiot and go out and do.
I look like an even bigger idiot because I'm like almost 6 foot tall guy. Like, look ridiculous, but it's super useful. Like, sometimes it's hard to articulate if you want somebody to do something kind of weird, and sometimes it's easier to just show them because it's in your head. Right. You have to find a way to translate that to a different human being. Can be a challenge sometimes.
And
I agree.
Like the way they stand, maybe the body weight is better on the right leg, or maybe it's better on the left leg, depending on the look that you're going for. And you might have to, you can verbally tell them that or show them that, whether that's coming out and moving their body around, or showing them yourself, or saying it behind the camera. If they get it right away, then you don't have to obviously come out and show them. But
yeah, exactly. One thing that I've found that helps is to, if I'm directing a model, I will tell them in reference to their direction, because I'm looking at it from the opposite direction they are. So if I'm going to say turn to the left, they're not sure whether I mean my left or their left. So I'll give them a reference point, look at that wall right there, or look at the door. See that poster in the background, that's what you should be focusing on.
Look out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the bottom part of the window. Look at the upper part of the window.
Yeah, that way they've got something that's concrete. Plus, I've found that if you give a model something to focus on, in the background, whether it's an object or writing on a wall, it kind of has a tendency to they train their eyes on it. It sort of narrows their eyes a little bit, and it kind of gives them a little bit more look of intensity, so you don't get that deer in the headlights, really scared look.
Right.
And it just kind of is just a little thing to help, give people something to focus on. That way they're not just staring off into space.
Right.
They look really stoned. Unless you want them to look,
really
stoned or whatever. If it's, if it's like a hippie editorial, then then go for it.
Yeah, I'll tell them things pretend like someone you love just walked in the room, and he's, from on the left-hand side, through that door, and look that way, like someone that you love. So think of those feelings. I'll have them try to emote like that.
One thing that I've found that helps is to sort of set a story. You tell them what the scenario is. You're afraid, or you give them real emotions that they can try and portray. Helps. And if girl has any acting experience, that makes it a little bit easier, it seems.
On that note, it would be, I think it's important for models to take, I'm always happy when I find out that a model has a dance background or an acting background.
Agreed.
Yep. They know how to move, they know how to emote. They get it when you say act fearful.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's sort of weird and unnatural to try and fake an emotion, but that's part of their job. And even if a model doesn't have any acting aspirations, I think most models should at least take an acting class.
I do too.
Because it really helps.
And a dance class.
Dance class would be good too. What about as far as poses and helping a model direct them to flattering poses? Because I know sometimes I'll find that models will point a limb straight into the camera and it makes it look stubby. Yeah, exactly. How do you direct a model? Do you just say don't do that? I do too. I'm like, I'll tell people, like, don't ever do that again because it looks terrible. Or
Right.
like, I kind of make it lighthearted and joke about it, but it sticks. Or like if you show them on the back, like if they roll their eyes all the way to the corner and all you see is the whites of their eyes,
look
they're like,
crazy.
look how creepy this is,
Yeah.
and they'll never do it again.
Right.
So that's definitely a tip. You know, if you're shooting tethered, it's really easy because you have a huge screen, but don't forget that you do have a screen you can show them.
Or yeah, you can show them your sensor. I think once in a while, if I get a shot that's really working, you know, I'll bring it up to the model and say, see, this is exactly what I'm going for. It looks great. You're doing an amazing job. Keep doing it.
Right.
You know, always encouraging them.
Positive reinforcement.
Encouragement is very helpful for anyone.
Yeah.
Psychology 101, but, you know.
I agree. I think, and it gets tricky when they're doing more things that you don't like than things that you do like, because a whole bunch of negative criticism can just cause a model to shut down. So, you know, be careful, you know, towing that feedback line, because if you go too far in one direction or the other,
Yeah.
it can be detrimental.
Highlighting the assets and not the good
Yeah,
points.
exactly. You could say something like, this looks really, like your face looks great here, but maybe change this with your hands or whatever.
Yeah.
That way it's not just bad all the time.
Right.
Like you don't want to beat anybody up.
Right.
Unless you're really twisted.
Being a woman too, like I never, you know, do a whole lot of the, oh baby, you look hot, oh baby, you look hot.
Am I supposed to be doing that?
I don't know. I
don't
see
do
more
that.
men doing that when I watch occasionally the videos of men shooting women. It's like, oh man, you're so cheeseball. But I will tell them when they look beautiful. Well, that was a gorgeous pose, or your face looks beautiful right now. I mean, I'll give them more feminine feedback than like, oh, you're so fucking hot, baby.
I don't want to sound like a tool.
Right?
Yeah.
You know.
It's whatever gets the job done for you, I
I'll
guess.
say it. Yes, there are some girls that I've noticed that too, and that's another thing. You sort of learn what your model responds to. Some girls, even though I'm a woman and that there's no, you know, nothing gay going on there's no sexual attraction between the two of us. It is sort of a sexual or a sensual experience between photographer and model. And sometimes girls want to hear that I think they look fucking hot. So because I just can tell by their facial expression or their body language, like once that hot word comes out, or you're sexy as fuck.
Something perks up.
They just perk and they give me more of that, and I'm like, okay, you know, all right.
I think a lot of it is just reading the situation,
Yes.
because some girls or some guys will respond to something like that.
Yes.
And it's just sort of you kind of have to like tiptoe around it a little bit, because you don't want to be. It's probably easier for you if you were shooting a woman than if I was shooting a woman. I don't, you know, it would be easier for me to kind of cross a line, just with the difference in gender.
Right.
But I mean, I'm pretty good at reading the models, and as you shoot more, you will really quickly develop that.
So I think it's
skill.
safe to say that a lot of directing is about psychology, isn't it?
Psychology 101, people read up on it, because it's a really good point. It does help. And
I mean, we're
really
going to
thought about
talk
it
in
like that.
another segment about working with difficult models, or you know, girls that don't emote. But it really is going in and spending a little bit of time with the girl in the beginning when she's in makeup and hair, and sort of reading her personality to know how you're going to go about directing her.
And that's actually another topic that we're going to cover, is kind of building that rapport.
Yep.
Because it's a full package. You have to take all of these different little bits. You know, it starts with casting, and you got to build the rapport, and you have to have the right etiquette. It's kind of a big picture that we're looking at in small segments, when they're all equally important. So we definitely encourage you to check them all out.
Absolutely. So that wraps up this segment, and stay tuned for the next one.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us.